Box office top 10, Bridge to Terabithia at 10.
You know, I think it's now been established that
you're wrong and you need to go again and realise that you are.
Yeah, so the jury's out, but I still think there's a big problem with
28 weeks later at 9.
Loved it. The most political movie in the charts at the moment because it's interest politics. You don't notice that you're being fed a load of anarchist politics whilst all the monsters are running around.
Anarchist politics, actually?
Well, it's funny.
You know it's anarchist politics. I thought it was just anti-American from your last description.
Yeah, but, you know, I think that... Well, let's not get it, unless we've got half an hour to discuss this. I think it's generally...
Well, we can either do movie reviews or we can discuss anarchy.
I think it's anarcho-syndicalist politics, actually.
I'm actually quite intrigued to know what the difference is. But the news beckons. Zodiac at 7.
Liked it very much,
yes.
of course, with
the Hitcher at 8.
Sir Brian Cox. Don't need the Hitcher remake.
Okay, Zodiac at 7 then.
It's very good with Sir Brian Cox.
Paradise Lost at 6.
Haven't seen it.
Spider-Man 3 at 5.
Have seen it. Regretting haven't seen it.
Wedding Days at 4.
So what is it? You're putting your hands up because...
we done yet?
Spider-Man is great.
It's rubbish. It's way too long. Way too long.
Wedding Days at 4.
Not funny enough.
Are we done yet at 3?
And I wish we were.
Pirates of the Caribbean at 2.
Enough said.
UK's number 1. Ocean's 13.
Well, it's rubbish, but at least it took Pirates of the Caribbean off. I mean, just imagine for yourself how bad a situation is the world at the moment that Pirates of the Caribbean 3 has just been knocked off the number 1 spot by a movie that co-stars Julian Sands. I mean, if that is not an argument for getting out of the country right now, I don't know what is.
The one movie taking all the posters is, of course, then
4.
Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Thank you. So you remember Fantastic Four? This is the next Fantastic Four movie. They can't call it Fantastic Four 2. It's going to confuse everybody. And as the title suggests, it features a new person in the shape of the Silver Surfer. Body by Doug Jones. Now, if you're a Pan's Labyrinth bore like me, you'll know that Doug Jones is the guy who plays the Faun in Pan's Labyrinth. He's a very physical actor and he's very fun. Of course, it's a CG creation, but it's a sort of silvery thing. And the movement's done by Doug Jones, and the voice is by Lawrence Don't Call Me Larry Fishburne. Obviously, dialogue written by Oscar Wilde. There's very little to say about 4, Rise of the Silver Surfer, except for this. It basically replays the one trump card of the first movie, which is that it is completely free of all darkness and is PG rated. Now, the BBFC PG certificate says contains mild language and innuendo. Now, I counted 4 words beginning with C and ending with PS, 1 word that rhymes with hissing down, and a few of the invoking he above. Now, interestingly enough,
blasphemy is
yeah, but it's not quite blasphemy. It's not quite that strong.
Mild blasphemy.
Personally, I mean, and I may just be me. My problem is you take kids to see movies that are PG rated, and I actually want them to be completely free of any language that the kids will pick up because and that's always been my problem with Harry Potter. Is I wish Ron Weasley would stop doing it because it's not big and it's not clever.
Where that came from? Because
it's not in the books. It's not in the books, and it's completely nonsensical. Actually, I think the reason is because in America it affects the certificate. You get a G and then you get a PG, and it's basically to do with if it has no rude words in it at all, it gets a certificate which makes it sound like a stupid kids movie. But if it has a couple of rude words in it, it gets a certificate that makes it sound like a not stupid kids movie that's a little bit more grown up. Which is why by the time you get over here, it's just a little bit annoying. So I could have done without that. I definitely could have done without the innuendo, because the fact is, it's shiny, bad times behind me, as I think Hazy Fantasy said so convincingly in the late 1980s.
Can't believe you've just done that.
Why? Shiny.
Shocking.
Fine. John Wayne is big leggy.
Yeah.
So consequently, it's clearly playing to the younger crowd, and so I don't need the conversations about how the rock man gets it on, because then I'm going to have to explain that to the younger audience, and that's a real shame. The other thing about it is Jessica Alba gets to do the same gag she did in the first one. Jessica Alba, she's the invisible girl. At one point she has to take all her clothes off, and then she stops being invisible, and then she's standing around with no clothes on, and she says, "Why does this always happen to me?" You think, Jessica, it's because that's what you do. I don't think you get those roles for your fantastic thespian talents, nor do I think that there is any chance that Brian Cox will be in a race with you anytime in the near future for a role in a Shakespearean production that you will snatch from underneath his nose. So it is what it is. What it isn't is any good in terms of introducing the mythology of the Silver Surfer. And how not good it is best demonstrated by this. There's a Jim McBride movie called Breathless, which is a remake of Abu Dussouf, which everyone thinks is absolutely heretical. How dare the American Jim McBride remake Abu Dussouf, which is considered to be a great masterpiece of new wave French cinema, Nouvelle Vague, the new vagueness, as I like to refer to it. And, he remade it with music by Jerry Lee Lewis and a starring performance with Richard Gere, right? That movie has more to say about the Silver Surfer than Rise of the Silver Surfer. In the few moments in that movie in which Richard Gere stands in a comic shop and some kid on a skateboard tells him off for having the power cosmic but not leaving behind the one he loves and going, he's much more background to the Silver Surfer mythology than all this stuff we get here. And then the film ends. So it's completely innocuous. It's completely shiny. It's got a little bit of language that I could have lived without. It's special effects. I think some of them done by Weta Digital, and they go zip, zang, boom in the way that special effects do. I just wish that what it had was a completely clean bill of health for all kids. And in which case, if you're going to make that kind of movie, great, please just, cut the word that you should have cut out 4 times, because it was said at least 4 times I could live without it.
How scary is the Silver Surfer?
Not at all.
What
he's not scary.
What does he do?
He surfs and he's silver. And he blows up worlds, but he doesn't in the end. He has a crisis of conscience. You don't know about the Silver Surfer?
I don't know about the Silver Surfer.
Okay, he's on a surfboard.
I realise that, and he's silver.
Yeah, he's not scary at all. Because actually, he's not a scary character. He's somebody who is
troubled.
Not this trouble.
We need to understand.
Destroying entire worlds comes under a category which doesn't really
talk.
No, but you see, he has to. He has to. In order to protect his love, in order to protect his planet, he has to become the harbinger of the eater of worlds. But at the end of it, he realises that, we all have a choice. And we do all have a choice, don't we? But so he's not scary in the slightest bit.
Is it the fault of social services, do you think?
I blame the education system, in his case particularly. But it's, staggeringly unremarkable, and I would have been much more fond of it if he'd just been open about what he was just said, hey, you know what, it's a kids' movie. This is in the age in which all the comic book stories are dark and aimed at a sort of older audience. It's a younger audience thing. The other thing, I do have this same problem I had before. How come it is that it's okay for the guys to look like walking rock faces, but the women have to look like Jessica Alba? Because there's no point in casting Jessica Alba other than for her pulchritudinous qualities, and she can't act, which is a shame.
Right. So the fact it's got Rise of the Silver Surfer, do we get the decline of the Silver Surfer, or is that in the next? Movie?
Well, he rises, and then he overcomes, and then he disappears, but at the very end he's back again, obviously, because he's the Silver Surfer. Right. Believe me, you don't need to trouble yourself with it philosophically.
Thanks for the suggestions of because we do this vodcast,
yeah,
which you can subscribe to,
and which people said, do I wave my arms around for effect?
You do. No, it's not for effect. You just do it anyway.
Yes, thank you. That was entirely the wrong answer, Milad.